If you want to climb on support, you aren't really going to be able to do it in a traditional carry sense. Most support champions aren't buying damage items, and even if your name is Vel'Koz or Zyra or something similar, you're on a budget compared to your solo lane counterparts. So how do good supports go rank up and do it just as fast as the other lanes? Well, they have to get creative. Good fundamentals are one of the most important skills to have, and it's something that we teach a lot here at Skillcapped. What we talk about less is the value of being able to think on your toes and problem solve a situation that maybe you've never seen before. So today, we're going to be looking at how a top challenger support, Nick or Achilles Heelys, is able to get creative and show you some new ways you might be able to carry your games. But before we get into the guide, here's video of you trying to rank up without Skillcapped. Don't worry, we can fix that at skillcapped.com. Link in the description below. The first game I wanted to showcase was him on Pantheon. Pretty early on into the game, they have a successful dive onto the enemy team. They end up killing the mid, support, and jungler, and while Draven does pick up 3 kills, Nick dies in the process. When he's headed back to lane, he realizes that the bot lane wave is crashed and that he's not going to be able to make it there in time.
Malzahar's still level 5 and Rumble has ulti, so I actually have a pretty good roam opportunity mid. I'm hoping Kayn doesn't path bot, yeah.
Looking at the map here, it looks really impossible to do anything. There's no one bot and mid lane is pushed in, so most players would probably throw their hands in the air and just kill some time. But Nick is thinking of one play that very few would catch. He can't necessarily go 1v1 the enemy jungler, but he can wait for his opponents to try and punish what they think is a mistake.
I think Kayn might actually path mid since Malzahar is 6. Yeah, we see him here. So I can cancel Malzahar ult and we should win the 2v2. Or we can just chain the damage there.
Nick got into the head of his opponents here and knew that they would try to make a play onto Rumble. I mean, what jungler wouldn't want to go gank a Malzahar with 6, especially since 2 of the enemy team's members just died? It sounds incredibly enticing to punish. You'd be surprised at how often you can catch people roaming to and from mid just by being here. Sorry for the jungle gameplay, but it's the exact same idea. Most players are just not going to take the super long route back to mid, and you'll punish them for it. It's not an apparent play, but being here when you have a mid lane shoving is incredibly good. Not only can you catch out whoever comes to help, or catch the mid just returning to lane, even if they're aware of it, you can force them to run the long way back to mid. They're going to miss farm at their tower, and that's a big win too. It's just a different kind of roam that you can take advantage of. Let's get back to the Pantheon game to see another cool moment. While his Draven is in base, Nick is staring down the enemy Jinx and Lulu. He's just never going to be able to actually look for a kill in a 1v2 situation like this, especially not with the enemy jungler on his side as well. So what does he do to get an advantage? Wave control. By hiding where he is and staying in the bush, his opponents likely thought that he just left the lane. But now, he's able to hold a freeze here and get a ton of farm for his Draven that he would have otherwise missed. They start pushing back out so that he could potentially look for a roam, and then we get some valuable pieces of information. Kayn is dead, and Lulu shows mid. Knowing this, is there anything that comes to mind that you could do? Let's let Nick explain.
Actually just gonna ult forward because Lulu's mid, so I can actually just hard zone Jinx off of this wave. I might be able to just solo kill her actually. Nice.
This was incredibly good recognition to just notice that Jinx would be completely isolated and unable to walk back to lane. Zoning off of experience and therefore gold as well can single-handedly win games, but you're not going to get many opportunities to do it as aggressively as this. Overall, a very good punish, just capitalizing on enemy movements on the map. Exploiting numbers advantages to do things that normally seem insane is something that takes practice. But if you can jump on it immediately and make use of your window, you can get huge payoffs like you saw here. Let's go into another game, this time with Nick on Nami. It's pretty early on in the lane, and the power of Lucian and Nami as a duo secures them first blood and the ability to push in the wave to the opponent's tower. This gives Nick the chance to get all of his Spell Thief procs off onto the tower to make some extra cash, and as he's backing up to base as well, he now comes up with another play.
Because I stayed for those Spell Thieves procs, they have the option to hard push this incoming wave and potentially get it under turret before Lucian gets back in lane. You can kind of see them just like looking to hard push right now, but Samira doesn't push fast enough and Seraphine isn't helping her, which is a pretty big mistake. So with Ignite here, we should have a very potential kill angle onto the Samira.
The main reason why this play works is because it subverted his opponent's expectations. When they expect you to do one thing and you do another, it can completely throw off someone's game plan. Noticing that Seraphine wasn't helping to push gave him a reason to stay and get an angle for the gank that would be completely unexpected. You should always be looking for ways to mess with your opponent's expectations. While Nick has to recall moments later in this game due to sitting on 1100 gold, you can see his Lucian do the exact same plan again. Especially once you recognize that your opponents will fall for tricks like this, just abuse them until they learn their lesson. Let's move on to yet another game. This time we're going to follow along with Nick's Alistar. The level 1 was pretty wild in this game. They ended up trading very heavily and everyone uses all sums. So to say that this lane is volatile now might even be an understatement. Regardless, his team has control of the wave now and is stacking 3 waves into his opponent's tower. What's great about this is that it gives us a lot of options in regards with what to do next. After pushing this wave, Alistar would be able to do a multitude of things. Roaming either mid or just to go get vision in the enemy jungle would be really strong. Additionally, getting a cheater recall to restore HP and mana would let us win and give Lucian the chance to buy a longsword, which could lead to big advantages in lane. But probably something that a lot of people wouldn't look for is exactly what Nick goes for in this game.
I do like the option of diving here because she will miss the entire wave. And I might not even die here. Oh, still die, but Samira misses the entire wave, so going for a dive like that is massive actually. That's something a lot of lower elo supports will not notice. You can play hyper aggressive there because it's a 1-for-1 at worst, and she misses, look, she missed, what, like over 10 CS, like 2 full waves.
Dives like this are incredibly strong. Trading 1-for-1 when the enemy ADC is the one to die means that yours will get a massive advantage in items and levels. Knowing this, Nick wants to set up for an all-in on the wave that is now bouncing back to him.
Alright, yeah, this is exactly what I mean. Samira was more or less forced to walk up into my combo range there to get the wave in. And with my dematerializer, we can get the cannon wave in super fast, and now Samira's going to miss the entire cannon wave. Lucian's going to get solo gold on the plate and even push one more wave because it's not a cannon. We can kill it very fast and get the recall off still without losing too much tempo.
I think he did a perfect job of explaining everything here, and you can see how much of a lead this actually led to him getting for his ADC. So let's jump into one more game where Nick is playing Sona. The early game actually isn't going very well for them. Lucian Nami is very difficult to deal with, especially on a squishy champion like Sona, so he finds himself losing wave control as well as health pretty frequently.
So now Lucian is going to back, waves coming into him perfectly. He's going to have an item advantage, but we are just still looking to scale.
This is a mistake that I see very often from low elo ADCs. Lucian should definitely have taken the opportunity to get his base, just like Nick described. But now he's stuck in lane without having bot, so he's going to have a difficult time pushing the lead that he does have. Because of this, Jarvan is able to look bottom to gank, and Sona and Jinx are now able to get control of the wave back, which definitely shouldn't ever happen. Lucian should have one goal now: get a good base to cash out on his advantage and reset the lane after losing health. However, he showcased earlier that he didn't have a great understanding of wave management and is about to show it again.
But you can see with this incoming wave, they won't actually crash it in time, so I'm going to be back in lane with tier, full HP, full mana, and hopefully we can extend the laning phase where Lucian just has the longsword, because he is sitting on a really big buy right now.
Okay, so we have a good understanding of what Lucian should do now, and also a goal of stopping him from doing it. Now Nick wants to walk up aggressively and try to distract Lucian from the wave.
We don't want to allow them to get a free crash here, because the free crash will give them a good reset.
You can see that his plan worked perfectly. Lucian was distracted and failed to crash the wave. This fully capitalized on his opponent's lack of understanding of wave knowledge, and Lucian could have easily shoved the wave had Nick sat back and done nothing. But now, Lucian would have had to deal with a freeze even if he hadn't died here. League is just a difficult game because of how many scenarios can pop up at any given time. It's likely that you'll never see the exact same thing twice, but seeing someone else punish mistakes in creative ways can give us some inspiration on how to punish similar mistakes in our games. To recap some of the key takeaways, we want to look for opportunities to trade 1-for-1 with the enemy ADC if possible, especially if they will lose extra farm for it. Our lives as supports just aren't worth as much when we don't need to be farming, and they do. Be unpredictable as much as possible. When you know that your opponent thinks you've done something, you can really take advantage of it, especially in the case of recalls. Look to catch enemies in rotation to other lanes or back to their own lanes. Identify what sort of plays they'll look for and be there to stop them. Reading your opponents like a book is the easiest way to stuff all of their plays. Additionally, look to abuse timers where someone shows on map and you have number advantages. You can really rush plays and make normally very risky plays into safe ones when you know that no one can respond to them. And finally, look to distract your opponents from their goals so they lose sight of what they're supposed to be doing. It's hard to keep track of everything that's going on, and making them too busy to think is definitely a good way to get a lead.
Alright guys, before we wrap this up, let's tell you a little more about Skillcapped. So, we offer a 5-division rank up guarantee, and think that's a pretty crazy thing to offer. It's like a gym membership guaranteeing you'll get ripped. Your local gym would go bust if they offered that, right? Not us. We've offered this for years because our service really does work. It works so well, in fact, that we're able to produce by far the largest catalog of premium league guides on the internet. We add over 20 videos a week, with over 1,600 guides curated into over 100 courses no one can compare. We've also sent challenger players into ELO hell 714 times and counting, where they commentate how to carry live. They also respond to all questions asked. Sign up today for as little as $6.99 a month if you are serious about improving.
We hope that this guide helped you to see maybe just a few more ideas for plays that you can incorporate. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll catch you next time.